Greetings, Sherman. My name is Helen Bonner, and I have been given the honor to speak to you and share my story of how I came to be at Sherman Indian High School and work with the wonderful students and staff here. So my story begins on January 11th, 2004. At the time, I had been working in public school for 13 years prior to that, but I got married, I relocated, and I was working on my credential, on improving my credential. And at the time, I ran into a woman that I worked with who told me about the Indian school in Riverside. And it's kind of odd because I've grown up within a 30-mile proximity of Sherman Indian High School all my life and never even knew that it existed. So I came down, applied, and again, I started my first day on January 11, 2004. Now, a little bit of a confession. I really did not plan on staying. I finished out the 2004 school year, and I decided I would do a full year, the 2004-2005 school year. Then my plan was that I would go back to public school. But all of that changed in 2004-2005. I had one wonderful student. Her name is Heather Miranda, and she asked me to be her sponsor for the Miss Sherman pageant, and she won. So she was my very first Miss Sherman. I've had 3 others since then. But had it not been for Heather asking me to be her sponsor, who knows if I would have stayed or if I would have left and gone back to public school. I will say this. The one thing I can honestly say is that I feel and still feel like this is the place where I belong. I really enjoyed teaching in public school, had a very good rapport there, but I feel like being here at Sherman is exactly where I was supposed to be all along. And the last 20 years have flown by. It's hard for me to even fathom that it's been 20 years until I say it out loud. So, as I mentioned, Heather Miranda was my very first Miss Sherman. I had 3 other girls. I had Alexis Via Duro. She's Via Duro now. She's also a teacher now here on campus. So she was my Miss Sherman in, I have to check my dates, I want to say 2007, 2008, yep. And then I had a little bit of a gap. Then I had Mikkel Evans, 2016, 17, and then my most recent Miss Sherman was Maya Begay for the 2022-2023 school year. And one of the things that I kind of found ironic and also kind of spiritual in the sense that 4 is a sacred number for the Dene people, and Maya is Dene, and she was my 4th Miss Sherman. So it just kind of felt like all this good karma kind of fell together. So again, my plan was to go back to public school, but I've been here ever since. I'd like to think that I've made a difference here to the students and staff, that I've contributed to promoting Sherman Indian High School. I know I've been involved in some various projects that I'm very proud of. One right directly behind me, earthquake drill poster. I was part of a research group on earthquakes, and we developed native language posters for all the different tribes that were represented here on Sherman campus, as well as for the different tribes in California. It was professionally produced by SCEC, which is Southern California Earthquake Center. It was also supported by California Geological Society, ACES group, professional group, which is American Indian Science and Engineering Society, and also money raised from the school board. So this is something I'm very, very proud of. Students provided the translations, and Tribal FEMA actually uses this as a resource. So this one on my wall here is of the native California languages. That's actually the 2nd edition. The first one was all over the US. We made a video of the students speaking the drill of drop, cover, and hold on. So that's also available. And we also created a story with the University of Southern California's film students of the earthquake story, of the turtle story that is part of the Gabrielino Tongva legend of how earthquakes came to be in California. So that actually gets shown pretty much every year in October, right around Shakeout, on FNX. It's been on PBS, and it was filmed here at Sherman on our stage, and we get to claim fame for that, as well as the USC School of Filmmaking. Another project that I've been involved in was Preserve the Plateau, where we now have a historical benchmark at our cemetery that tells some history about Sherman Indian High School. That has been very informative, and is part of a greater project about the native lands out here in Riverside and Riverside County. I've also been parts of some National Endowment for the Humanities projects, where one, I was a part of Native Environmental Science, and two that had to do with Native American education. One at KU, Kansas, University of Kansas, KU, go Jayhawks, which was comparing Native American education to Black American education at the time, and then just this last summer in Boston with the retelling of Native American history. So I'm very proud to have been selected for those various projects. And the one for the Native Environmental Science and Technology was in Hawaii, so that was, again, a great honor for me to represent Sherman Indian High School at these different universities and contribute to their research projects. And speaking of research, I'm also very proud to say that we started having students competing in the ACES, American Indian Science and Engineering Fair, students competing at the national level. So our first group of students went in 2007, and they all placed second or third in their respective categories. And we tried to continue with that research competition. But in 2019, we had one young lady that I took to Oklahoma State University, and her project was a grand champion for the life science portion of the National American Indian Science and Engineering Fair, which by doing so, she won the life science portion of it. She qualified to go on to Intel, which is the International Science Fair competition. So that was something big on my bucket list, to finally get a student who got all the way to international and competed there. And super proud of that accomplishment. That student's name, Victoria Duchesne. So thank you, Victoria, because you're the one who had to talk to all the judges. You did all the work, and I just got to shore you up and push you along the way. So I was happy to be a mentor for you on that. And my first original girls that went to research competitions that did really well, Sandy Pasquale, Kimberly Frost, and then Autumn Smith. Autumn Smith, she was in a really tough category, environmental science. She placed third in her category. But the two projects that placed first and second, they went on and qualified for the national competition. So to say that she was third behind these other projects really said something for our very first effort. So my first three girls, Sandy, Kimberly, and Autumn, they started taking those bold steps and believing in me and letting me push them to some dreams and to believe in themselves and show what they could do. So other things I've done while I've been on campus, I have been an ITC sponsor. I have typically been the junior class sponsor for a number of years, and again, a Miss Sherman sponsor. So I have been very proud, privileged, and honored to have been able to participate with students in their lives, shape their lives, contribute to their lives. And for me, the goal was that I always wanted their high school experience, your high school experience, to be as great as mine was. I know I truly love being in high school, and I love learning, so I've always tried to bring that to my classroom and bring it to the students. And I just hope I made a difference. That's all we can ever do, is hope that we made a difference and know that you touched a life in a positive way. It's a little bittersweet, 20 years, but it's time for me to move on and to do other things. I'm sure I'll still be around, because once you get to Sherman and it gets to be a part of your soul, it's in your skin. It gets under your skin. You can't get rid of it. You're always going to want to be a part of it. And I'm so proud to be part of history, the remaking of history, of where we are embracing culture, embracing language. There's re-assimilation of culture into Native American students as opposed to stripping them of that. So I'm proud to be a part of that historical journey. And I want to just say thank you to all of you that have been in my classes. Thank you to all of my wonderful students who have supported me through the years. Lori Sisquak, thank you. You have been one of my champions. And oh, by the way, I did nominate her for a KCET award, cultural award that she won. I can't remember when. I want to say it was in 2012, 2013, because it's when we started the Preserve the Plateau. Oh, and one last partnership that we started back in 2012 as well was with Western University Health Sciences. And all right, Amanda, you're going to have to step up because I'm stepping away. But that partnership has also blossomed and brought a lot of great opportunities to some of our students who want to pursue careers in the health career fields. So Jordan Ramirez, she was able to participate in a college program called SHPEP that helps prepare you for going to medical school. And then again, Victoria Duchesne, who was part of the medical research for Chaga, that's so powerful and so important in a native remedy. So without Western University Health Sciences, we wouldn't have had the opportunities for some of our students to be part of these programs. So once again, I'm blessed to have been able to be a part of that. And I hope that for future years that these partnerships will continue well beyond when I'm gone. So I have a good friend who's Ojibwe, and I know in the Ojibwe language there is no word for goodbye. I will simply say this, Gekawapamin Minawa, which means I will see you again. Oh.